Hey guys, welcome to another Reaper blog video. Today I'm going to be reviewing all the stuff that I used in the past year. The first one on my list is the Apogee Element 24. It's a compact, well, not really compact. It's an audio interface, Thunderbolt, great specs, lots of preamp gain, nice software mixer. I ended up returning it within a month because it had some software issues that I couldn't figure out. Apogee wasn't able to help me with that. I considered going up to a higher end Apogee interface because I did really like the sound quality of it. But as I said, I ended up returning it because I wasn't able to get over those issues. What I ended up getting as a replacement was the Arturia AudioFuse. And that seems like a step down because it's a USB interface versus Thunderbolt, but it has been very good for me. The preamps aren't quite as good. There is lots of gain. There's a boost button for the preamp gain, and I like that. Really helps with the Shure SM7. This thing is very compact, but it packs a ton of stuff. Really stuff that's not really necessary in an audio interface, in my opinion. But overall, it's performed really well. Far from perfect, but it is very good. For the price, I like it a lot. The 3 USB ports on the back of it really help because, you know, if you have a Mac, then you're always out of USB ports. Interesting, I would recommend it, but I'm still constantly looking for something better. Next up, I've got the Sennheiser Massdrop HD6XX. These are Massdrop's version of the Sennheiser HD650. They are good mastering headphones or mixing headphones. Open back, they sound great, very, very natural sound. Build quality, I can't compare them to the original Sennheiser 650s because I've never used them. There's a lot of plastic on these. I don't know if that's normal or not, but very nice headphones. And I don't know, $300 cheaper than the Sennheiser ones. So Massdrop, check them out for discounts on great audiophile headphones. Next on my list is the Elgato Streamdeck, and I've had this for like a year. It's a 15-button, I don't know, action launcher sort of thing. You can use it with Reaper, you can use it with pretty much any program that responds to a keyboard input. There's a very good integration with some programs. With Reaper, I find I use this very little because Reaper has such good custom shortcut and scripting stuff built in already. I find that it's not faster, it's not as nice as hitting the keyboard in most cases. There are certain things that I use that for. I've built and reset and all that stuff like 6 or 7 times, trying to get fluid with this for Reaper, and it's just not even close to using a keyboard. There's so many ways of speeding up workflow in Reaper, like radial menu, Reaper WRB, things like that, that I think work better for Reaper. But this is great for photo editing apps or iZotope RX, things where you can't change the built-in shortcuts, or you can't do like combination shortcuts. I'll show you the software. So in Finder, I actually use this thing quite a lot. I've got a macro or a multi-action. Make a new folder from selection. There's a short delay of 1200 milliseconds, and then it's going to rename that folder audio files. So you just select all the files that someone sent you, or you're compiling into a project. Select them, hit the button on the Stream Deck, and it'll make a folder named audio files with those selected items. So really helpful. I've got another one that's the same, but for media files. I'm using that every time I make a video. And then other things like copy, paste, move, open, those are all really convenient to have there, maybe instead of using both hands on the keyboard. So yeah, really helpful little thing. If you can get this for like $99 or less, definitely worth it. There's a smaller version as well that I haven't tried. I actually reviewed this, the MiniLab, so I'll just link to the video. A few months later, still really liking this. It's nice and compact. Can't really complain about the size of the keys or how many keys are there because it's meant to be compact. I still prefer my Novation keyboard a lot more, so I'm probably going to upgrade that in the next year, hard to complain about something that's this price and comes with such great software. So, so check out my video on that. A couple more things on my list I've already reviewed. So the BenQ light was sent to me for a review, which is kind of a weird thing to review on this channel, but I love it. It's really such a nice light. This little remote's great. I've already talked about that in the video. The AVA Prism library is the next thing. I did a long video on that. I've used it in a bunch of other videos since then. I've written like 7 songs using it. So really good drum sounds, easy to use, inspiring. Can't recommend it enough. One virtual instrument that I really like, ThornCM. So Dmitry Sches made this synth, and there's a limited version of it in Computer Music Magazine. I would recommend getting like one of the back issues just so you have access to this synth, because yeah, it's one of the best, most powerful synths that I've ever gotten for free. So some other Kontakt instruments I bought around Christmas time were from Rigid Audio. From them, I got the Ambiloop bundle, which is Ambiloop 1 and 2, Outer Space bundle, which is Ghost and Space 2. And with that, 328 separate Kontakt instruments, which is kind of a pain to actually go through. Hard to complain about that much content, but yeah, it is hard to get through that. I don't know. Here's an example of Ambiloop 1. So it's split up into 4 different sections. So there's like a bass loop, a pad, an ambient loop, and then a groove. And, build up a song with these sorts of things. There's a bass. And I cannot play it all on the MiniLab because it just needs like 1 more octave. I'll be able to play that fairly easily. But it's an interesting product. That's Ambiloop 1. Ambiloop 2 is very similar to that. Here's another one at random. So that's the pad. That's the ambient sound. There's a loop, and then the lowest octave. It's a bass sound. So there's a lot of different variety in there. The Ghost library is like this. A couple of options for tweaking this. You can change the waveform and stuff. I think these are all just different presets, but technically you can do everything from here, and there is a random button. So lots of interesting sounds, really cheap set of samples, worth checking out. From Boutique British Sampling, I got 2 different libraries. I think these were free, but this one is a tongue drum, hang drum. No controls, just a set of samples, but it sounds pretty nice. The next one is Resonate. So it's a set of different, I'm not sure what these samples are originally from. Kind of bowed sounds, like things like that. And then the interesting part is these different reverb settings. So the default is on chainsaw. Here's Ghost. And mod wheel controls how much of that reverb is in the signal. Very cool, spooky sounds. I like it a lot. Another new virtual instrument I've been checking out is Pigments from Arturia. I only have 3 days left of the free trial. It's an interesting wave shaping synthesizer. I find it confusing to learn. Just the wavetable thing in general, I find confusing to learn. The sounds that it comes with, it's not for me. I think maybe I'll come back to this another time, but I can't get my head around it. I was going to say it's worth checking out because it's free for a month, but I'm a month late telling you that, so never mind. Last year, I bought Ozone 8 Advanced. I did one video on this already, focusing on the Master Assistant. Overall, I like it, but it is kind of a step back in some ways compared to previous versions of Ozone. Ozone 5 I used for many years, and for me, that one is the best. But Ozone 8 has a lot of interesting and good things, but also a lot of annoying things. There's the Vintage EQ, which is like a Pultec style EQ. Really interesting. Sounds great. One big thing I don't like about Ozone 8 is that all the modules aren't available at the same time. There's a limited space, whereas with Ozone 5, you could have 2 EQs, multiband dynamics, spatial controls, delimiter. This one, you have to choose one at a time that you want in your module chain, and you only have those 6 available. They also took some of the modules away, so there's no reverb anymore. You can't have 2 of the dynamics modules. It just all seems kind of weird that they would limit it in any way. The reverb in mastering was hardly used, but once in a while it's really helpful, and now that's not available at all. So it's just strange. I wanted to review RX7 on the channel. I've been demoing it a little bit, but not really liking what I find, I guess. I feel like RX4 like nailed it. There's so many great things in RX4, and then RX7 is not that much better. It's a little bit better. There's a few things that I like. In the D-Click module, there's a low latency mode, which is really interesting because then you can choose like frequency dependent option. I'm not going to say don't buy it if you don't have RX, but for me, I don't know if it's worth the upgrade price. Earlier this year, I got Transify from Joey Sturgis Tones. It's a multi-band transient shaper, really helpful in a lot of areas. I got it originally because I needed it for a mastering job, and it was the perfect thing to kind of control some, I think it was some toms sticking out of a mix, maybe, just automating in a master, and that worked perfectly. This is great if you want to like tuck back some hi-hats or tambourine in a master, but it's great on a drum bus as well because it's bass, low mid, mid, and treble controls on this, plus multiband clipper included with it. So it's a very interesting product, inexpensive, and works very well. One thing that I wish this had was a solo button for each of the bands. That would be perfect. Something that I reviewed on my other website, Audio Geek Scene, is this thing, the Airturn. It's a Bluetooth pedal controller. I've used this to link up with Reaper and control transport settings and things like that, turning on and off the metronome, turning on recording and things like that. Pretty helpful. Lots of things to tweak and optimize kind of in the software for it. But once you get it, it works pretty well. Please check out my review. Is that it? Here's something more. This thing is a little light. The Aputure AL-M9. You can get this for like $48 on Amazon. I mount this beside my monitor, so when I'm doing these videos, just kind of, brightens things up, fills it in. Comes with different filters. It's a nice little lamp to just, fill in a background or fill in your face when you're doing a live stream or something like that. Really helpful. This is an articulating arm. Got it on eBay. I bought 2 of them for 20 bucks, I think. I've got one for my shotgun mic, just clamped onto my desk. Really helpful. They can barely hold a Shure SM7. They're even this 11-inch model is not quite comfortable enough to talk into for a podcast or something like that. Still need some sort of desktop stand in my situation. Well, I guess that's it. I don't know. I think that's everything that I bought or was given or has been used to make stuff on this channel so far, or stuff that I bought around Christmas time. So yeah, hope that was kind of interesting. If you want to know more about any of these things, you can just ask a question below. So that's it for this video. Thank you so much for watching. Please subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Follow me on Facebook and Twitter. Support the Reaper blog through Patreon and visit reaperblog.net for a lot more tutorials. See ya.